I forgot to do that. Stream to my audience. Whoops. Hi, guys. We're live. Not quite ready, but I will be in a second. Cat Howard here with Windermere Woodinville. I forgot I got to stream to Facebook and YouTube. Cat and Dan Show. I don't know why we call it that. It's just because our names are Cat and Dan. Stats by Cat. And let's talk real estate and loans. Okay, there we go. Okay, save changes. Okay, there we go. Okay. Hi guys, Cat Howard here with Windermere in Woodinville, Washington, at my home here in Clearview, in Snohomish County. So, and I'm joined with Dan Millis with Nexa Mortgage, and he's in Renton. So we get together and we do these live streams once a week. We shoot for Monday. Today's Thursday. Is
it Thursday?
So anyway, all right. What do you think, Dan?
I think we're ready to roll.
Are we ready to roll? You want to run that cinematic video that my photographer took of me with my new listing this week?
Let's start off on a high note here. Let's go. Hang on. Just there. Let's get that video up.
So I wish you guys on TikTok could see it. You'll have to just take my word for it. It's going to be almost 2 minutes long, so you're just going to hear the music, and but you guys can let me know if you want it, and I'll make sure you get a hold of it. Whoops, can you hear it, Dan?
Okay, ready?
Yeah. Just imagine having access to over 13 miles of hiking, biking, and equestrian trails. Just a hop, skip, and a jump from your home in Paradise Lake Estates, located at 23130 104th Avenue Southeast in Woodinville, Washington. Let's check it out. Step into this spacious great room with vaulted ceilings and large windows that flood this space with natural light. Situated on over a quarter acre, this property backs directly the Paradise Valley Conservation Area. This 793-acre park offers over 13 miles of designated hiking, biking, and horseback riding trails. Your backyard provides direct access to this outdoor haven, making it easy to enjoy nature at your doorstep. In addition to the lovely 1,486 square foot 3-bedroom, 2-bath home, there's a fantastic 1,200 square foot shop, which includes an oversized 2-car garage, 135 square foot storage room, and also an over 400 square foot bonus room that's completely finished. So it could be utilized for an arts and crafts room, could be a workout room, could be a media room. Anyway, the world is your oyster. So that was a video that my photographer and I collaborated on for my latest listing that went on the market last Thursday, and we had multiple offers, and we got it sold on Tuesday. So she actually got me that video done by Friday, the day after I got it on the market, and we uploaded it to the listing, and we uploaded it to the property website. And so turns out, the seller, because I also do a 3D Matterport 3D walkthrough tour, which I think is critical for every listing that goes on the market. A lot of agents don't use them, but I think it's very important to allow buyers to see themselves in the space. But my client, my seller, was so enamored with this cinematic video that was almost 2 minutes long that he actually wanted that one on Zillow and not the Matterport 3D tour because he felt like it encapsulated the space better. As I was doing a voiceover on a lot of it, and other parts of the video, I was actually in the video talking and showing the property. and the features of the property. And I think he thought it was a more rounded experience for the buyer. So that was very flattering. That's my only third attempt at creating those. And I didn't use the first one. That was on the Puyallup property, which, by the way, is still available. Don't build your house on the septic drain field. Just a word of advice, because it makes it very difficult to sell. So I probably shouldn't say that in case they're watching. They are social media buffs, but it's the truth. So anyway, but this particular property, it was interesting because it's a manufactured home built in 1985. It's 1486 square feet. But it's been completely remodeled. They literally remodeled. The bathrooms look brand new. The kitchen looks brand new, sleek quartz countertops with soft close cabinet doors, just beautifully done. Modern hardwood flooring. I mean, somebody took a page out of my "How do you prepare a house for market" guide, and they applied it literally. This property could not have been better prepared for the market. But what was special about this property, you guys, is that it has a 1,200 square foot shop. And Dan, you know how much people love their extra space, right?
Oh, they love it.
I mean, 1,486, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, all remodeled. And, wow. And in addition, a 1,200 square foot shop. The whole front half of that building, that extra shop building, was garage. You could almost park 4 cars in there. It was 32 feet deep. Is how deep that garage was, and 20 feet wide, I believe. And then in the middle of the building, and you could walk directly from inside the garage, you could walk out the man door, walk 5 feet, so 2 steps, and you're in the manufactured home. So it's not covered, but let's face it, most girls aren't going to get their hair very wet hopping from the garage door to the man door on the manufactured home. So it's pretty good. It's a covered porch on the manufactured home. And so you could also walk from the garage space into the storage room, which is 135 square feet. And that was finished. That's sheetrocked, and it's got built-in shelving, very deep shelves, little window in there. The garage the garage did not have a window, I don't think. I think it had a window on the man door. Yeah, I think that's what it was, because you could see in there. Anyway, you could also walk straight through the storage room into the bonus room, which is finished off exactly the same as the house. I mean, sheetrocked, beautiful modern lighting, 2 windows plus a glass, a man door with a big glass panel in it, right? With the little the blinds recessed in the middle of the glass panes, so kind of cool. And modern hardwood flooring and electrical outlets everywhere. And it was over 400 square feet. So really a special property on over a 1/4 acre at the very back of Paradise Lake Estates. And it borders that Paradise Valley Conservation Area, which is 793 acres. And it has over 13 miles of designated horseback riding, hiking, biking trails in there. And one of the trailheads is right there adjacent to the property. You actually could walk from the back of your property to the trailhead. It's right next to it. So anyway, people were coming off the trail and coming to the property. That's what I mean. It really is right there. So Dan, super cool. Had a nice coat of paint on the outside. The only thing I can say about the inspection or the condition of the home is the roofs were nearing the end of their useful life. So we had a little pushback from buyers, not happy about maybe having to replace a roof within about 5 years. But there were no leaks or anything. But that would be the only flaw, as well as the furnace was original.
Well, I've got a quick question for you, Kat.
Yeah.
A few weeks ago, there was that one house in Everett, and it just flew off the market in the first 7 days, right? Over asking price.
We set an offer review date on that one as well, right?
Yep, and multiple offers. It was a dream, right? Went beautifully.
We got a dream buyer.
You had a dream buyer. It was just fantastic. Now you've got this property. Same thing. It goes off the market in 7 days.
5 days.
5 days it goes off the market. Excuse me. Sorry about that. I stand corrected. 5 days. It goes over asking price again, and do you have little tricks or tips or any sort of something you could send out to folks that might be thinking about listing with you? Because I got to tell you, whatever you're doing, and I have a pretty good idea of what you're doing, it works like a charm. And I was just wondering if you had any, like something you could pass along to folks that might be interested in listing with you. Do you mind if I
Yeah,
ask you a question?
I do, Dan. I have it. It's called the 12 Cats 12 step guide to preparing your home for market. And I'm happy to share that with anybody that would like a copy of it. I can send it over to you in, in a little booklet, flip book format or a PDF format, whatever you want. But it's a little online guide that you can take a look at, or I can send you a printed one if you prefer it printed, for sure. So, but it gives you guidance for all the steps to get your house prepared for market properly. I will say, so both of my recent listings did miss a step. I wasn't, normally I would want the roof and the gutters cleaned. And so the home in Everett, they did not do that. They forewent that step. They didn't want to do that. And anything else they didn't do, I picked up the slack and I made sure it happened and utilized my service providers. And then on this most recent listing that sold this week, I don't want to say they skipped a step, but they didn't do it as completely as I would have liked. I would have liked to see the landscaping spruced up quite a bit more. I understand why they didn't, because the first thing the wind blows and it blows down all these pine needles, and it kind of, if you put new bark down, it disappears. So, and that actually did happen. We did have a big windstorm, and he had the roofs cleaned, and he'd done all this work, and all of a sudden he'd come back out, re-rake the yards, get on both roofs, blow them off, get the branches out of there. And so a big windstorm kind of threw a monkey wrench in the week we were going on the market. So,
but still, everything worked beautifully.
Yeah.
Right?
So and I guess my point in telling those stories is that, as long as you follow the steps fairly closely, you're going to have a good outcome. You should have a good outcome. Right. I think also in my most recent listing, I believe they did use Tim to clean the windows and the window tracks, which I think is very important. In my last listing in Everett, we had the windows cleaned, but I would say the tracks were not clean. They were white vinyl, but I don't believe they were very clean. And I really like them to be clean so buyers feel comfortable opening and closing the windows if they want. So it just makes the windows feel brand new when the tracks are clean. So it's a preference. It's not necessary, but it's a preference I have, and I think it can make a difference on the finished product. So, right. But in both cases, we got multiple offers. This one that sold this week at Paradise Lake Estates, we ended up with 3 offers. We actually would have sold for more money had we sold on Monday instead of waiting for the offer review date. But in either case, we would have been just over asking price. And so either way, they would have gotten over asking. Well, and so they did fine. They did great. The allure of waiting for the offer review date is, we don't know how many offers we're going to wind up with. And we already had one on Monday. So we opted to wait to see what else might come in. I just had a lot of pushback from buyers this week and then also 2 weeks ago, not really wanting to compete. And I think that that's kind of a common theme out there right now. I just talked to an agent on Camino. She's got a property listed for about $1 million, and looks appealing to me for my clients. Not perfect, but very, very close. It's got the view. It has 2 bedrooms on the main floor. It's got 2 laundries. So you could essentially live on that first floor, which lives like a rambler, and not have to go downstairs. That downstairs area could be utilized for, multi-generational living, right? You could have your, like he mentioned, he could rent it to his kids, have family visit. They could have their own setup downstairs. So anyway, but that agent mentioned, I noticed that she missed her offer review date on Tuesday. That's when I had mine set. I was very fortunate. I did make mine. I had the assurance that I had an offer in hand on Monday already with an expiration on Tuesday. So I had a little extra assurance that was going to happen. But it's a bad feeling to wake up on Tuesday morning and not know whether you're going to have multiple offers or even one offer in hand. She did not get any offers. And so I do have a feeling that we've got a lot of buyers out there that have been making offers this spring, And although the market has softened, they don't seem to know that. They would watch me. I would tell them, go write an offer. There's not very many buyers writing right now. Anyway, but I think they're really hesitant, and prices aren't going way over asking anymore. You know, when I look at the close data, that data is coming down, and it's been coming down since about the third week in April.
Right.
So it's interesting to watch that happen. The number of homes, the percentage of homes that go over asking price, that's been coming down. So, and that would be indicative of transactions transpiring, you know, the month before that, right? So 30 to 45 days before that. So I think I put that in my stats by Cat this week. You'll see that when it comes in your inbox this week, Dan. It should have just went out. So, hey, by the way, yeah, if you guys want my stats by Cat that I put together every week and I email to my people, whether you're just interested in real estate or you're a buyer or a seller or you're a builder or an investor and you're interested in what real estate is doing in our area or one of the nearby counties, let me know. I post statistics for Kitsap. My daughter lives there. Plus, I was going to list a plat over there, and then the builder sold the land. Dang it. Some other builder, he was off market with it. Some other builder just looked up the expired listings and approached him and handed him a bunch of money. So I almost had myself 102 lots in Bremerton houses. Anyway, so I have an interest in Kitsap. I also send investors over there, Bremerton area, to buy fourplexes because they come really close to penciling. So I like Kitsap Peninsula. I like to keep track of that county. I also pull stats for Skagit. I have clients who live in Anacortes and further north. So I like to keep track of what's going on up there. Actually, Eric just bought in Skagit County. So Dan and I have a mutual client that actually just closed on a house in Mount Vernon. He's so happy. He's sending me photos at 3:00 in the morning of the work he'd been doing since like 11:30. He like photobombed me like 20 photos of like he's squaring door frames so that they wouldn't rub when they closed. And I'm just so proud of him. He is a go-getter, man. So anyway, so I got a couple clients in Skagit, so I pull Skagit. I've also got a potential buyer and seller up there. Also, I pull Snohomish and King, right? Work in King County, and I live in Snohomish County, so I work this area a lot. And then we also do Pierce and Mason. So I have clients in Pierce and Mason County, several in each. So, and I, you know, to be fair, I like having a wide audience in those areas. It's actually fun to sell real estate out of my immediate area. Yeah, it's very fun.
Speak of the devil, you want to go to Stats by Cat?
Oh, we could do that. Yeah.
Go to this week.
Oh, by the way, you guys, if you want to sign up for Stats by Cat, you got to get a hold of me. So you need to shoot me your email address. That's all you got to do. It's free once a week. Anyway. All right, Dan, I need water. I need water. Hold on, guys. I got to get a bottle of water. Hold on. Fire. Mikey. So Dan.
Yes, what's up, Kat?
How are interest rates?
Oh goodness, they're coming down.
Yeah.
They're coming down.
Tell us a little bit about that. How much have they come down and what's happening out there? What are we expecting going forward?
Well, I got to tell you, I think let me switch over here to some let me go over here to this other page that hang on just a second here.
Hi, William.
This will take me about 1 second here. Well,
Dan's organizing. So if you guys are watching us on Facebook and YouTube, we put Dan puts graphics up. So for you guys on TikTok, you can't see that. Sorry about that. You have to go find us on Facebook or YouTube. But he's looking for a graphic right now that relates to the interest rates and what's happening right now with interest rates. They're coming back a tad, not to steal your thunder, but they have come back a tad. And Dan has got some explanations for that and what it looks like going forward. So if you guys want to kind of listen in. This could be interesting.
Well, I just pulled up. Now, this is a chart of the 10-year Treasury, okay? And then we'll get into a quick explanation. But what you're seeing in the middle of this chart is that we had a peak in interest rates. Hang on here. Okay. So we had a big peak back here in October, right? We had a nice leg down into the end of December. And then rates started rebounding going into the end of April.
Hold on, Dan. Mr. Fat Tuesday is having a fit that my neighbor is driving. Oh my God, he's got his tractor on a trailer. Oh, he must have taken it somewhere. Anyway, so he's actually driving in the pasture next door because there's no fence. And he mows it for free just so we have a pretty park to look at next to us. I should show you guys that. There's like, I don't know, 40 acres next to me. It's just 100 acres. I don't know. It's very bucolic over here. If you guys know anything about Clearview. Anyway, Mr. Fat Tuesday, would you like to get on camera? Would that make him baby happy? Come here. How about we introduce you and then we let Dan finish? See, because Dan has a lot to say now that you're being quiet. People can hear him. This is Mr. Fat Tuesday. He is the official real estate assistant to Cat Howard. That would be me. Yes, good boy. And baby handsome. Okay. All right, Dan. Floor is yours. Sorry about that. Sorry for the interruption.
Okay. Mr. Fat Tuesday's in the house. What can we say?
Yes, he is in the house.
He's in the house. So let's say here, let me just update one of these. There we go. Okay. So if you take kind of blow up the chart and just look at the last 3 months, a couple things you could see. Okay. And what you can see highlighted is June 10th.
So is that day by day, Dan?
This day by day, yeah.
Okay, that's a daily chart. Okay.
This is a daily chart, yeah. And so what you see is June 7th, where interest rates went way up in one day. And June 7th was last Friday, and that was the employment report. We'll get into that in just a minute. Then you had a little bit of carryover into Monday, but that was all. That was it. So we had a peak on Monday. But it was a big move. I mean, it was like 15 basis points higher in rates on Friday based on the employment report. And then you could see it's come right back down ever since. Came down big time yesterday. It was a Fed day yesterday. And what was happening yesterday? There were a couple pretty big reports that came out. CPI came in lighter than expected, came in at 0% for the month. Okay. So that was a really good number, and things just reversed and then some. So we had basically a multi-month low that came in on June 6th, the day before everything went to hell in a handbasket because of the employment report. They reversed, and we've actually gone lower than June 6th. That's a pretty significant break. And the reason what's going on right now, and here I'll stop sharing this, but let me get over to this other graphic that we've got and show you a couple things that are kind of important. It looks like we're headed for a recession, and I'm going to say that at this point. Okay.
Yeah.
The reason that's important is if we are headed for a recession, interest rates are coming down. Okay. And so this is not just something that has come about in the last 3 days or 5 days or what have you.
We're not just concocting this for this live. This is interesting information.
Right. It's
cutting edge, you guys. Breaking news.
I don't know how breaking is, but it's confirmation of what has been going on in the past, in the last 6 to 9 months. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So the first tidbits that came out were back in October, and there was a huge revision of the number of jobs back in October. And so it's like, well, not everything's kosher, right? I mean, you're not supposed to get.
You're talking about the general, the tenor of what the government's been telling us, just the way they've been interpreting their models, right?
Correct. And so back in October, so there's the monthly employment. So in the monthly employment report, there are 2 reports in that. There's the business report, they call it the establishment report, and then there's the household report. And created a different way. And I don't want to get too far in the weeds, but you just have to remember there were two different reports, okay? And what happens with the establishment report, and establishment means businesses are reporting employment numbers to the government. But the truth of the matter is, businesses don't take a ton of time. It's just a form. They fill it out as quick as they can. They shoot it off, and if it's wrong, they'll clean it up later. The cleanup process happens with the census, and then the census puts out a quarterly report. They basically tell the businesses, hey, how many people do you actually have working for you? That's kind of an important number. And so that's sort of so they have this establishment report where the businesses just kind of send in, they don't put a lot of care into it. And then there's the one they got to get serious about that comes up every quarter, right? So last October, the quarterly came out, and it was like over 600,000 people employment, off. And so you had 600,000 fewer jobs than was originally reported. And what we're seeing now is the big problem within the employment, the establishment report, is they have a concept called the birth-death model. And the birth-death model it's not the birth and death of people, it's the birth and death of businesses. So they'll take the number, they estimate how many new businesses are being formed and how many businesses are being closed. So the birth of businesses and the death of businesses. Okay, so that's where they come up with the birth-death model. And they basically estimate it. It's really quite a process. I don't want to downview. I don't want to badmouth it too much, but it's a terrible model, to be honest with you. And it's especially terrible at. I'm just saying the construction of the model itself is not very good. It does not catch turns in the market. It goes up, like with the trend. And then when the trend changes, it takes a long time for it to absorb those changes in the model. It's a problem. And so you end up with situations. Let me show you one situation here. This is just from last week. So last week you had 272,000 new jobs gained in May that was reported. And that came from the establishment survey, the business survey.
Right. But
when you look at, and I got to look at this model a little clearer, but when you look at the household survey where they actually call people up and, talk to them and real people, it was saying that they lost 408,000 jobs. Now, somebody's got to be right. Somebody's got to be wrong. Maybe they meet somewhere in the middle, but that's a huge disparity.
That is a huge disparity.
It's
so
really
you've got the people that are being interviewed reporting that people are losing their jobs, and you have the government suggesting that jobs are being created. The net
yes.
is the jobs are being created. So that's actually in direct.
Well, I'll put it this way: one mouth of the government is saying one thing, and the other side of their mouth is saying another. Right? Completely different. And then and the thing is, when you dig into the numbers. And I wish I had the exact numbers in front of me, but out of the 272,000 jobs that were created in the establishment survey, if I'm not mistaken, 241,000 of those jobs was due to the birth-death model. So if you took the birth-death model, it looks much more in conjunction, looks a lot more in alignment with the establishment or with the household survey. Not as bad, but it would only showed about 30-something thousand jobs that were created instead of 272,000. So the why this is now a big issue is that yesterday, Jerome Powell, chairman of the Fed, said something that's never been said before. And he said, well, we've got some questions about the employment numbers that are coming in. I'm paraphrasing, but that's basically what he said. And it's not like it's something new coming out of his mouth. 6 weeks earlier, if I'm not mistaken, when they had the previous Fed report, he was alluding to non-government sources for employment data, in www.indeed.com, which is a online employment website, right? So he was first time ever that anyone can remember where the Fed chairman was referring to like non-government employment data, right? And so it's like he's looking at this and kind of shaking his head. There's just a ton of major economists that are just saying, "Hey, this is not right. There's something wrong." And you can look at it and see if I tossed. My apologies, but I tossed a few. Oh, here we go. Hang on. Let me share this screen with you. Hang on. I do have it up. I had to kick a few of my slides off to get the stats by cat on, so that's why I'm.
So I'm the culprit. It's my
no,
fault.
no. It just is, but they only give me two. No, this live stream's the culprit.
I'm wiggling my computer here. Whoops, I better stop. Put my feet on the stand. I guess I better not do that.
Okay, let me show you something here real quick. Can you see the?
Yeah.
Can you see the screen? Okay, so this is the initial claims that's coming up. All right. So what you can see.
Monthly? Is that monthly, Dan?
It's weekly.
Okay, weekly. Gotcha.
And so it's weekly, and I've squeezed down the data, so it's just one year's worth of data. Okay. And you can clearly see you have a low in initial claims in January 13th. The week
of January. Yeah.
So let's squeeze it down a little bit more. See if we.
I mean, the jobless claims are going up huge.
Just recently, they've taken off the last 2 weeks. Yeah. You can see, and remember a few weeks, maybe 2-3 months ago, we were talking about how everyone was complaining that there were only 212,000 initial claims, like 3 or 4 weeks in a row, and that was statistically impossible. Well, this is the part that they were talking about. Whoops.
Yeah.
I doggone it. Hang on. Well, that was the part that they were talking about. Let's reach that out there. So what we're seeing right now is this stuff happens in transitions, right? These statistical anomalies, like with the birth-death model, it always happens at tops and bottoms of the economy. That's all. The birth-death model for businesses is designed to follow upward trends. But when you get to a bottom,
so what you're suggesting is that we're kind of in a transition phase. So the economy has been improving, and now it looks like we're kind of reversing course.
Yes. Is that right? And yes, and it was doing okay. It was doing okay. But now it does appear, it's early in the phase, but it does appear that we're breaking out. Right? You could see it in the last 2 weeks of initial jobless claims, last 3 weeks. So we've gone from 216,000 on May 18th, 221 on May 25th, 229 on June 1st, and then this latest 242. That's a pretty doggone big move as far as these initial claims are concerned. And you can see where it's breaking out significantly above where we've been for basically the last, at least since last September.
So, and nobody's really wishing ill will on the economy, right? So, but what we're talking about here is we're talking about maybe an impetus behind interest rates coming down in the future. So what Dana is the whole impetus behind this story or this line of thinking is that with everything that's going on and the numbers coming in, that we should see interest rates continue to come down. They've already started to come down. Right, Dan?
Yeah, that's basically it. And let me add one more thing on this. Very good explanation, Kat. You say in a few words what it takes me a long time to say. But anyways, we're
not wishing ill will on the economy, right? We don't want people losing their jobs. But the net result of that would be a change in the government's policy regarding interest rates. So that would be a situation where we might start to see the Fed start to slash rates, and also, just organically, the mortgage rates will come down.
And you can say, and the reason I mention all this stuff is that everything is coming together. It's meshing. The economic numbers are meshing with the interest rates, and you can physically see it. I mean, the interest rates have started coming down this week. You gave it two days for people to digest last Friday's jobless data, and rates started coming down right away this week. And then they continued with the CPI numbers. CPI numbers came in at 0. And then you take a look at, this is an interesting, let me see if I can blow this up a little bit, but this is a really interesting chart. Hang on, I'm going to just put it, let's do this. Okay, so this was interesting. It came in this morning, but so you get the National Bureau of Economic Research. They're the ones that declare recessions, okay? And they have four main pillars for the recession call, all right? And if you take a look at those four main pillars, they're all, the wind is not at, at the economy's back at this point. You have personal income, not including government transfers, that peaked in January. You have the jobs number that peaked, the household survey, and we were talking about the difference between the household and the employment survey. The household survey peaked in November. The non-farm payroll establishment survey that we're talking about, the business survey, is at its peak right now. So there's a discrepancy, but at some point they catch up, right? You've got industrial production, which peaked in September of 2022. So that's 18, 19 months ago that industrial production peaked. And then you can barely see the bottom, but that would be real business sales, and that peaked in December. So you've got all of these different sectors of the economy that are coming together to paint a mosaic, if you will, a picture of an economy that is definitely, it's not just that it's slowing down, it's not temporary, it's going to be continuing. And you're seeing, the reason I say that is that this is all a slowdown that was engineered by the Fed back in with the initial raise in interest rates. And how long has that been? About 2.5 years now.
It's been, since April, January through June, essentially, in 2022.
Yeah, and they announced the policy
2 years later,
back in like November before.
So and that's what I kept saying, is that there's going to be a significant lag time between the Fed increasing interest rates and seeing the impact on the economy. It's interesting that it looks like the cycle may be maybe at least 2 years. And so, again, when they were raising them so rapidly, I was like, hey, we need to step back, wait for these increases to make an impact. And so if we wind up reversing course here, maybe they got a little overzealous.
Yeah,
which was my fear back then, because it was historic to raise them so rapidly. Never been done before.
Never been done before, and
so we wind up in a bad recession. We'll know why.
That's right. And that's right. I mean, we will know why. Yeah, the flip side of the coin. Now, if people are looking to buy a house, okay.
Yeah.
So let's take a look at it from their perspective. If you are looking to buy a house and you're headed into a recession, what do you do? Are you worried about housing prices going down, or are you worried? What are you worried about? And I would argue this, that if you find the right house, jump on it. And the reason is we have a fundamental problem. It's a long-term problem, not a short-term problem, with not enough houses being built. Yes. We have a huge shortfall. I think we've got, if you look at family formations, I think we have approximately a 1.8 million housing shortfall, with the amount of supply that's coming on the market with new household formations. And the shortfall is about 1.8 million. There's not a lot of downside because of that. You're always going to have people, because we have a shortage.
Yeah.
You're going to have housing prices stay reasonably strong. We can
have some wiggle. We could come down a little bit. I mean, that totally could happen if the market starts to, if we start to see people losing their jobs and the market softens a tad, we can definitely start to see prices come down. I mean, let's face it, Snohomish County is up 19% since January, and I would not expect us to finish out the year at 19% up. So. Right. Just cycling through on a normal year, you're going to have those spring numbers pushing appreciation up about, anywhere from, 10 to 20% typically. And then we'll ease back down in the summer, late summer and fall. So, So anyway, there are some natural swings in the market as well. So, just because we see prices softening late summer and fall could happen like it did last year. Some, not much, but that doesn't necessarily mean that the bottom is falling out. Usually January is where things take back off again.
Right. And I'll just throw out my opinion. It's, I don't know how much it's worth, but I wouldn't worry a lot about this year if you're jumping into the market. And I only say that because there are a lot of buyers potentially on the sidelines. That's true. It's not a myth. Okay.
No.
And
for instance, I had over my 3 days of open houses, I had probably 45 or 50 groups through. And I will say that was the same for the Everett house as well. A lot more interest than I would say maybe normally, and very few offers. So not nearly the level of offers I would have expected. I think I sent out the inspection report 10 or 11 times on my most recent listing. We did get 3 offers. One of them did not want to participate in a bidding war. So their offer expired the day before the offer review date. Gives you kind of an indication of, where the mindset is. And they actually did not buy another property the next day. They are still on the market looking. Right. So they were hoping to get us off the market with a very, very, very little bully offer. Not compelling enough to get my clients to forego the opportunity to potentially pick their buyer. And in fact, they got a very qualified buyer. We have very few contingencies, I'm happy to say. It's not likely that this one will fall apart.
Yeah.
And as opposed to the other 2 buyers, it was those were a lot squishier. Lots more contingencies and all that. So,
and I do think you're going to see something similar to what we've seen the last two times that interest rates have come down by 1 point or more. We've seen an average of a 37% jump in mortgage applications.
Yeah, right? I think that will be the case. And if interest rate come down a half a point, that'll make some difference. But if they come down a full point, we're getting closer to like 6, and maybe some people are getting some interest rates in the 5s. Right. That's going to stimulate the market. The sellers are no longer going to have to do the 2-1 buy down. Not that they've been doing that this spring, but they certainly were last fall to get their home sold. So yeah, it will create a run on the market if we have a significant drop in interest raif Yeah. And so just that in and of itself, you guys, will cause prices to increase. Because right now we still do have bidding wars. It's, the market, I keep talking about the market softening. I mean that ever so slightly. Because we still are seeing prices going over asking price. And the last 2 houses that I had listed were not, the manufactured had been remodeled on the inside. It showed beautifully on the inside, but the truth is it was still a manufactured home, a 1985 manufactured home. And that's an inherent challenge, is how we like to put that in real estate, something that we can't overcome, that is going to be a mental block for some buyers. Some buyers are going to opt not to look at a house that is, or buy a home that's a manufactured. So that's okay. I mean, everybody's got their thing. So, anyway, I don't know.
But when you look at the video of it, you'd never guess it was manufactured. It was beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's really, it looks like it's on a foundation. And honestly, so I did the marble test, Dan. Because you know what happened is I had some water spill out of my vase when I was filling my vase, and I was, it just had a little water spill on the counter next to the sink, and it didn't go anywhere. It puddled, and I was like, dang, that counter is level. Like usually water runs in a direction, and to a degree anyway, at least slowly, right? And this did not. And so I had clients there, and they're like, oh, sometimes the floors are, how's this one? How's the foundation on this one? And I'm like, I really don't feel any particular slope or slant anywhere. So I said, hold on a second. Let me show you something. So I just took a stab at it because I really felt like it was completely level. I mean, these people have owned this place for like 7 years, and he's a high-end builder. And I got my marble out of my purse, put it on the counter, didn't budge.
You just gave me another idea for the marbles. Another idea.
Oh yeah, what?
Yes. If you plan on going over to Aberdeen anytime soon,
God. Yeah.
here's what color is the marble that you got?
The one I've been using's got green swirl in it. It's clear.
Green swirl. Okay, buy a similar size, exact same size, blue marble and a red marble. So you have the green, blue, red, right? And then line them up.
Races.
Have marble races and bet on them. Yes, you could make money over in Aberdeen.
Kind of like the goldfish races.
You could be like a bookie. Invite some of the folks over
for marble races.
Yeah, put your money down. Are you betting on the gold or the green or the blue or the red? You know, that would be a very good open house activity, I think.
Oh my God, Dan. But anyway, yeah. So I did that, and then I did it and then I put it on the floor, and it rolled a couple feet barely, and then it just stopped. I mean, that's how level this place was. And I had no idea. I just took the marble out of my purse and went, hey, let's just check. And everybody was like, wow. I was like, dang, somebody knew what they were doing. So I don't know if my current sellers or if they had done any leveling or not, but nothing, no sloping floors there.
Well, I got to tell you, you know what? On that note, let's go to the stats by cat. Here we go.
Stats by cat. Okay, you guys. And if you guys want to get this in your inbox every week, just shoot me over your email address, and happy to do that. I've got like 450, 500 people on my email list, and you know, they just keep updated on the real estate market as it changes, you know. And then I also add a little story. I put in a little, pick a topic. Like this week, it was actually my 2 listings. So I updated everybody with how those transactions, how those negotiations went, so that buyers and sellers could see in real time what's happening out there in the market. It's not just about me. It's about me relaying what's happening on the ground. So I was shocked in both cases to only end up with 2 offers on the offer review dates for both of these properties. But I'm very happy to say that we ended up with incredible terms in both cases. So it did allow the seller to at least pick the terms. One of them was cash, close in 2 weeks. The other one is finance, close in less than 3 weeks. So I gotta tell you, and essentially no contingencies other than financing. So in both cases, we did very well. So anyway, okay, what do you think? King County?
King County, let's go.
Okay, King County, a 1.1 month supply of inventory, and that is ticking up. What do we got here? Let's see.
Wow. Average sales price for the year up 25%. 25%. 25%.
In King County, you guys, that's the average price per square foot is up 25%. And so I do it by square footage so that we can kind of keep it apples to apples, instead of maybe a bunch of big houses sold one week versus another week, right? So, and I like average. Median sometimes gets kind of squirrely from month to month, just for the reason that maybe, you know, more bigger homes sold one month than the next. I like average is feels like a better number for this sort of thing. So average price per square foot, 25%. The median, I think, very well supported that. I don't remember the number off the top of my head, but that's again goes to the cycles, Dan, right? In real estate, you know, the number I took for the beginning of January was the December sold data for December 2023. The average price per square foot for sold listings. That obviously is a smaller pool of data, but it's significant nonetheless. And then versus the May sold data in 2024, right? So that we could talk about it in June. So we're actually comparing December sold data to May sold data, and that's up 25% in King County. It's 19% in Snohomish County. Wow. So it's significant. Now that's not year over year, right? So we're just talking about intra-year swings in the market. And I really want people to understand how the market naturally cycles. We see these same cycles almost annually, unless there's something going on to change that cycle. We have interest rates that can go up or down, you know, other things impacting, you know, your area, like maybe there's, you know, increased job opportunities at a higher wage or something like that might impact an area, or job losses, right? So, you know, individual areas could be impacted different ways that might make the cycle, the natural cycle of real estate change a bit. or alter that natural cycle. But I think it's really important. I'm having a lot of fun watching the same cycles unfold each year while I'm doing the Stats by Kat, and Dan and I are doing our lives. It's fun to see this happen again this year. And I have stats for it. Dan knows. I think we went back 12 years.
Yeah.
We looked at December data. I think actually we even looked at January data. I think we did January to June. And so those would have been, maybe we did use December close. Maybe. I can't remember. Anyway, we either used December close or January close, and then we compared them to May closings. So.
That were reported in June.
Yeah, right. Yeah, June. Maybe, well, yeah, right. Yeah.
I think it was December to June. I think.
Yeah. So but that cycle, that's a normal cycle. And so you could expect to pay quite a bit less for a home in December if you purchase it than you would in May.
Yeah.
Right. And so we like to just mention that. So I think it's good to know. So 50% of sellers got under contract within the first 7 days on the market if they listed their home between May 26th and June 1st. So that data, it's up a little bit from last week, but it's still down overall. So 58% of sellers got under contract within the first 14 days on the market if they listed their home between May 12th and May 25th. And that second week data is still off. That was in the upper 60s and 70 percentile. So the market has softened a bit over the last 6 weeks. And then we've got 56% of sellers did set offer review dates. And I had an idea today that I'm gonna start tracking the sellers that set offer review dates in King and Snohomish counties, and I'm gonna see how effective those offer review dates have been recently, because I have a feeling that they're less effective. Do I think I should have set them on both my last listings? Yes, because we did get over asking price. But is it scaring away some buyers? You can still get multiple offers without setting an offer review date. You can take the tenor of the market on Friday when you do your open house, and then Saturday, you're likely not to get an offer that first day on the market. And so you kind of see what happens. And if it sounds like people are going to write it on Saturday, you could set an offer review date for Sunday and still get multiple offers. So you don't have to set an offer review date to get multiple offers. So Snohomish County, 1.1 months supply of inventory. 41% of sellers got under contract within the first 7 days on the market if they listed their home between May 26th and June 1st. So 41% is a low number. But 57% of sellers got under contract within the first 14 days on the market if they listed their home between May 12th and May 25th. So it looks to me like that 7-day data in Snohomish County, we've got a couple weeks in a row where that's only 41%. 7-day data. And we've only got 50% of sellers in Snohomish County setting offer review dates. So, but necessarily, some of those sellers are missing their offer review dates. So I'm going to take a look at that data. I think that's going to be interesting going forward. Pierce County up to 1.2 months supply of inventory. 27% of sellers set offer review dates. 38% of sellers got under contract within the first 7 days on the market if they listed their home between May 26th and June 1st. And 46% of sellers got under contract within the first 14 days on the market if they listed their home between May 12th and May 25th. So those, strangely, Pierce County seems to be not impacted by what's happening, what's causing Snohomish and King County data to soften. Seems to have less impact on Pierce County and Kitsap County, as you'll see in just a second. And I don't have a reason for that. I can't figure out what that is. But
maybe it's because Pierce County hasn't gone up as much as Snohomish.
It could be directly price related. It could be. So Mason County, let's do the Mason County's hot. Mason County's hot. 35% of sellers in Mason County got under contract within the first 7 days on the market if they listed their home between May 26th and June 1st. And get this, 50% of sellers in Mason County got under contract within the first 14 days on the market if they listed their home between May 12th and May 25th. So what I predicted is coming to fruition. I anticipated that the market would pick up in Mason County which is a little more outlying county, less populated, when the weather improved. And that seems to be bearing out. They actually are almost neck and neck with, Kitsap and, Pierce and us here in Snohomish-King. Very interesting data. Only 5% of them set offer review dates. Whoops. Oh, I got to do my puzzle piece. Sorry, guys. See if I can get this right. You got to get it exact or they end your live. There you go. I'm back in business. So only 5% of sellers in Mason County set offer review dates. That could be something they need to visit. Again, you don't have to set an offer review date to potentially get multiple offers. You just need to have the property properly prepared for the market. Kat's 12-step guide to properly preparing your home for market. Ask for it. Mason County, 1.6 months supply of inventory. Okay. Skagit's doing all right too. 35% of sellers got under contract within the first 7 days on the market if they listed their home between May 26th and June 1st. 42% of sellers got under contract within the first 14 days on the market if they listed their home between May 12th and May 25th. 29% of sellers did set offer review dates in Skagit County, and Skagit County has 1.4 months supply of inventory. So they're doing all right there. If I remember right, I believe Skagit actually had more homes go under contract than came on the market this past week. So feels like they're chewing up a little bit of inventory. I think their numbers are pretty strong up there. So not a bad market in Skagit. Just had a client buy up there. Got a good deal.
Yeah. Oh, and let's see here.
Love that. I love it when my buyers get a good deal and my sellers get more than asking.
You have a knack for that, Kat. Your buyers get a great deal. Remember Skylar back in
Skylar got a great deal, and I took in market, and boy, did we score him a good one. Yeah. And we negotiated. We got to negotiate. We had an inspection.
You had seller credits, if I remember. They dropped the price. It was just a beautiful deal. And then you turn around. So you do a great job for buyers to get the house the best deal you possibly can. And then you turn around for the sellers and you always get them. You're getting them over asking price and you sell it within the first week.
That's right.
That's pretty awesome. That's a hell of a combination. Excuse my language. Sorry about that.
It's a good record.
For all the sensitive ears on
my reputation, Dan.
Well, when you see it firsthand, seeing is believing.
Yeah, you and I, we've known each other not that long. We've known each other for like over a year. But so you've witnessed a couple years maybe. Yeah, a couple years. We've known each other a few years. So you've watched me work.
Yep.
You've seen the evidence.
Yes, I've seen the evidence. It's rolling in, and it's impressive. It's very impressive.
Thank you, Dan. I appreciate that. I'm glad you noticed.
Yes. Well,
I know. I texted Eric because I just got him under contract. Well, we just closed on a house for him, and we maintain contact. I like to do that with my clients. I think of them as friends usually because we spend so much time together. I kind of like them most of the time. Anyway, so Eric was, we were texting back and forth, and I'm like, I don't know what's going to happen. A lot of buyers are saying they're, not wanting to compete. And I've got this offer review date set. And he goes, I've got this offer review date set. And he goes, it's you, Kat. It's going to sell. I was like, okay, I'll take that. Hey, Dan, where'd you go?
Oh, I went with the solo shot. Just you.
Solo shot. I like it. That was big. That was on the big screen, guys.
You were on the big screen, yeah.
So 40% of sellers in Kitsap County got under contract within the first 7 days on the market if they listed their home between May 26th and June 1st. And this is the big number for the week, you guys. 59% of sellers in Kitsap County got under contract within the first 14 days on the market if they listed their home between May 12th and May 25th. No lie, Kitsap County got the gold star.
I've got, you know what? It just came to me. I've got a nickname for Michelle. She's doing so well over there in Kitsap County.
Michelle Cook. Yes, the Michelle Cook. She's killing it in Kitsap County. I don't know how anybody else gets a listing. She's doing all of them, I feel like.
I've got a nickname for her. We're going to have to call the queen of Kitsap, the queen of Kitsap. So
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
queen of Kitsap County. Yes.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah.
She's on fire. She's a cracker. She's she's a firecracker. She's really amazing. So she's my daughter, my offspring. What can I say? She's 10 times me, you guys. She's funnier, she's younger, she's more energetic. She had 3 kids, I had 1, That says it all. She's still married, I'm not. Anyway, 24% of sellers in Kitsap County set offer review dates. So that's a little light in the loafers compared to what I thought it should be. But I think the sellers over there are a little nervous to do that. So again, you don't have to get multiple offers. So we just might, keep that in mind. So
it only takes one.
It only takes 1 good offer, but to get over asking, it takes 2.
Takes 2, yeah. 2 to tango.
Right. Kitsap County, 1.1 month supply of inventory. And that's the end of the story.
And that's the end of the story.
It's 5:35 and I turn into a pumpkin. I have to go meet the girls at McMenamin's. If anybody's in Bothell, you know what I'm talking about.
If anyone's in Bothell and you want to hang out with the famous Cat Howard, it's over there. The party's happening at McMenamin's.
McMenamin's it is. We're probably going to go to the Shed. I think it's called the Shed. We'll sit outside. It's really nice out. I got my dress on, grab a glass of wine. Take Mr. Fat Tuesday for his little outing. He's already been for a walk today, but he can go to the restaurant and practice his restaurant manners. So anyway, so going to meet my good girlfriends out there. And thanks for joining, you guys. Hey, this has been fun. It's been fun, Dan.
It has been a lot of fun, Kat.
Thanks for doing this with me this week. That was a good live. I appreciated it.
Yes, it was.
Liked your explanation on where interest rates are probably going to go. I thought that was a good idea to throw that in our live today. Glad you did that.
Well, thank you. No, it was a lot of fun, and I really do believe it. I mean, you don't like to go out.
Oh no, I'm just glad that we're letting people know what's actually happening out there, and I think that's important. And so I'm glad that you brought that up. I like that.
Yeah. Well.
Oh, you can see my lights going out. So you can tell.
The lights are telling you head over to McMenamin's. So
head up to McMenamin's. Look out, McMenamin's. Here we come.
I'm clicking the end live stream button, and it's now been clicked.
Okay, I'll see you later, Dan.